And action. He's painting our 1953 Alcort Sunfish ZIP with TotalBoat WetEdge fire red, rolling and tipping. Using the Mighty Mini roller kit. They bought that from Jamestown Distributors. It comes with a roller cover, roller frame, little pan, a couple of gloves, and we also picked up a paintbrush locally. And basically for rolling and tipping, just load up a little bit of paint on the roller, and we try to work it in a couple of directions. Found that, you know, with the hand pressing down, it tends to press this side of the roller harder, and it can leave a little edge. So just use fingertip control. Then we roll over an area that's a little bit larger than the area that we just got done doing. We're spreading the paint out. Remember to get the little edge here that's been taped off. And then we dip the paintbrush in a little paint. Come back and just tip that edge. Trying to keep a wet edge, and by that I mean this edge here. We don't want it to get dry and hard because there'll be a little bump there for the next layer of paint to go over. So try to keep moving at a consistent space. We roll over that wet edge from the previous bit we did. And just light pressure with this, Tim. Just kind of just holding the brush and letting the brush's weight do most of the work. What we're doing is the roller puts down little bumps and the brush helps straighten them all out, and then the paint, if you leave it alone, the paint will flatten out and self-level. So one of the keys is not to work the paint too much. This wet edge was donated to ZIP for her restoration. She's built in 1953 by Jamestown Distributors, I should say, their TotalBoat product line. She's built in 1953 when Alex and Cortland, who formed Alcort, decided they wanted to try a boat that had a cockpit in it. And ZIP's story goes that she was number 13 of the first 20 pre-production boats that they built for family and friends to try out, see if they liked it or not. Before that, they were building the sailfish that just had the flat deck with no cockpit. So evidently people liked it, because they've been building Sunfish continuously since 1953. They switched over, started building the fiberglass models in 1960. They built both fiberglass and wooden Sunfish into the mid to late 60s, as best I know. And then I think some dealers had a few kits. You could buy a kit from the factory, or you could buy a factory-built boat. And I've heard that some dealers had kits into the early 70s, you know, just sitting around waiting for people to buy them. So got a family member who says, yeah, I got mine in 1972. Well, I did go with that. tray's starting to get a little empty, so I'll add a little more paint to it. Our marine carpenter friend Keith said he normally shoots for about 3 coats of paint. Does what he calls the flood coat on the first coat. Kind of floods the paint on there to get good surface coverage. Then the next does a little sanding. Then he'll do a show coat and kind of paint and see what areas to show up that might need a little more attention, a little more paint. And then his third coat's called a finish coat. Might have been able to tell there were some red coats of paint on there. There was 2 coats from the factory plus a couple of coats of primer. We sanded that down to try to get it smooth. And then on top of that, I think we put Interlux Bright Side about 7 years ago. Then it got sanded and touched up again. I don't remember, but I think we may have used Rust-Oleum topside for that coat. And this latest coat's TotalBoat WetEdge. So we're gonna, best thing to do now is just step away and let the paint flatten out and dry, and then come back tomorrow, light sanding, and throw another coat on. Hope y'all are doing great out there.